Hello everyone, this is Charlotte. There's a podcast called Chatting in Cars. This is where I talk about random topics while I drive. Disclaimer at the start of this podcast, oh my god, my stutter's already kicking in, is basically a warning. I swear when I talk about sensitive topics, and if you don't want to hear about kind of real sensitive topic actually, switch it off now, try something else. It's not for kids, hence the reason I put the rating at 18 plus. So it's not for kids. So, but it is real things that we need to talk about. So I do, and I don't stay on one topic at a time. So I do go off on tangents. So excuse my old age and network thinking. I wish I could stay on one topic, but everything sort of interrelates. So I tend to go off on weird quests, side quests of investigation, interrogation. The topic for today is boundaries. I am terrible with boundaries. What are you doing? I'm terrible with boundaries. Mainly because I've got a background in trauma responses where you're treading on eggshells. Trying to keep these, people happy in order to, keep the game going, if it is a game. Their game, usually. So you'll find yourself people-pleasing, and you'll find yourself doing whatever they want, saying whatever they want, just trying to get them to stop either being angry or being violent or being, berserker. And that was the way I was raised. So that was the first 20 years of my life, whilst I lived with my parents. On top of that, it set me up for the problematic marriage, which I entered, in which I was constantly trying to make him happy. I lost my sense of self. I lost my self-worth. I didn't have any self-worth, to be honest, because I was constantly trying to either people please my parents. Sorry, my stutter's really kicking in. Or how do you know you're talking about trauma? Because I can't get it out. Or you're reliving it. Or trying to keep my ex-husband happy. Thankfully, I broke that cycle once I left my ex-husband, but it took, I was 33 when I left him. It took years to try and break myself after that of, trying to just keep the ball rolling and tolerating any old shit that comes along in case, the person I'm with or trying to be with, who could be an absolute piece of shit at the time, and it did work out that way, in case they didn't like it. By the time the ex-boyfriend I have now came into the picture, I was questioning everything, whereas when I was married I wasn't questioning anything, I was just going with it. That's very unhealthy, because I had no boundaries and I was willing to do just about anything to keep this person in a good mood and rolling, and very unhealthy. And I lost my sense of self and self-worth and self-value. I wasn't doing anything for me. Even to this this day, I have trouble being motivated to do things for myself. I have to be very mindful of what I'm trying to achieve, and is it something that's actually going to help me, or am I doing it for someone else because I want them to feel happy, or I mean, it's a nice thing to do when you're trying to do things for other people or with other people in mind. It's nice, I think, because it shows that you care. It shows that you're not selfish and you're not self-absorbed. But at the same time, it's get to the point where you're sacrificing your health, your mental health, your needs, your wants. You're putting your entire existence aside just to follow this person's dream, and you're not building anything for yourself. It does create problems later on in the line. For example, if they leave or they find someone else, and then you're stuck. Excuse me, that's my ringtone. And you're stuck with no sense of who you are, or having any kind of tangible thing to fall back on. If you've invested all your money and everything, or your efforts and energies, or if you've given up your jobs to get married to someone and have their kids and become a housewife, for example, which is why I'm skeptical of that arrangement. The current trend being we're all going back to trad wives. I'm going, fuck off. No, we fought this long to get out of the kitchen. I'm not going back, not unless I'm getting paid for it. I'll go back as a chef or something. Fucking stupid. Anyway, it's like that's the backwardsness of it. I'm sitting going, it doesn't make sense. Why are we going backwards? I think it's more of a sign of being lazy. Anyway, I'm not going there today. But you leave yourself open to having nothing. I mean, in some countries you've got that law where you can take half of whatever they've made when they're married. But at the same time, you still sacrificed your body to have their kids. Most of the time the women look after the kids post-divorce, so the guy is off doing his own fucking thing. And, you know, sometimes they just do a runner and you don't have any financial support at all. So you've got the full weight of the family, raising a family, trying to work, and being a single mum. So it's horrible. We set ourselves up to be in these situations where we're not protected because we're obsessed with almost, or addicted to, trying to make the other person happy. Now, women are fed from a very young age the romantic idea that you should be self-sacrificing for the person and it will be okay, everything will work out in the end. But the reality of the situation, which I was susceptible to myself because that's why I got married. I assumed I got married for love. I did love him at the time. I didn't foresee that he would want an open marriage in any time soon. I thought this was the man I was going to die with. You know, I was going to grow old and get farty and die. I didn't even factor in that he was that kind of person. But I invested my whole self in this thing, and I didn't leave anything for me. That's the danger of having no boundaries. I threw myself in, and I have a propensity to throw myself into relationships anyway. I'm terrible. With my ex-boyfriend, I held back a bit because he kept showing me reasons not to trust him, which was good because it meant that I started to click on to what kind of a person he actually was, and I'm going, this is all a fucking game for you. So, you know, it was bad at the time, but at the time it was also good because it gave me clarity. And whilst he's sitting there thinking he's some grand Casanova mastermind, I'm sitting there going, there is physical evidence of why you're a piece of shit. I just need to have the confidence to stand up and say, this evidence is working against you. I'm not staying for this. This is ridiculous. I've been forgiving. I have pushed aside all this shit as it is. You know, we broke up 6 times. I should have assumed by the 6th, you know, maybe less than the 6th time that this shit wasn't going to work. And it was always menial shit anyway. Not really, because, you know, part of it was finding evidence of cheating. So it's like, this clearly is not my person, but because I kept overstepping my own boundaries and forgiving him and trying to make it work, I didn't have any real protection. It took a real something, the universe intervening, for example, because we got evicted, for me to stand up and say, hey, this is the turning point. This is, you know, the universal mum saying, this ain't the right person. I'm giving you an out in the form of even a location change. It became very clear at the time because he'd actually been withholding the information that we were getting evicted. Again, another physical and behavioral trait which showed me what kind of a person he was. He was stonewalling me at the time because we had broken up. Even though we were living together, we had broken up because I was just fed up of, I think I found the hair clip at that time and I was just like, what the fuck is this? And he was stonewalling me because he couldn't get his way. And I'm like, right, we're broken up. I don't want anything to do with you. It was a case of he'd either sit on his computer or he'd fuck off down the pub. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick to myself because I'm not doing this anymore. I've set a date. This is not us in a relationship anymore. I'm not going any further than this. I had to actually go to him, break the stonewalling, to find out, because I had this weird gut feeling, because we were already on a periodic lease. I already had a gut feeling that something was gone wrong, and then he suddenly comes clean that we're getting evicted. And I'm sitting there going, well, okay, so when are we getting evicted? And it's like my birthday. I'm like, you prick. You fucking prick. And even if you've broken up with this person, this is something you discuss. I don't give a fuck. If you live together and it affects both of you, you discuss it. Regardless of whether you're together arguing or, you know, coming after each other with meat cleavers. You fucking talk about it. But it's just, it was that level of pettiness. And I'm sitting there thinking, these are the boundaries I'm betraying in myself. To keep this shit show running, to be associated with this person. I'm betraying myself So I set a date. I'm terrible though, because even when I knew we were getting evicted, I'm sitting there going, you could come live with me. Like, oh, why did I do that? And his response was, I couldn't possibly live with you. And I'm going, but and at the time I'm sitting there, but why? I'm a nice person. It's that fucked up people pleasing again. And I'm sitting there trying to fix things. I'm going, well, I got better credit score. I can get an apartment better, easier. And I did. You could come with me, because I know you don't even have a fucking proper job or anything. But that's the thing. He went all dramatic, and he's like, I couldn't possibly live with you. And I'm like, fuck it. Okay, fine. That was me recognizing my boundaries and going, fine, we'll go with your plan. So after a few times of checking out houses and things like that, I found a place. I was sending him links to places that he could possibly find. Again, people pleasing, another trait I need to fucking break. I'm sitting going, I'll still help. I'll still do these things. Like, he doesn't want to come with me, fine, but I can send him places, that he might be interested in. And at that point, I found out he was actually moving in with his friend. Long time before I even knew that we were getting evicted. I'm sitting going, what the fuck, dude? So this person was definitely not had my back. And I'm thinking, it's the ultimate betrayal. Well, not the ultimate betrayal, because it was dicking someone else, but at the same time, I'm like, not only are you an asshole in general, you're cheating on me, you don't mind if I'm homeless again, and you don't give a fuck. It's like, you don't love me at fucking all, do you? You don't even have basic human respect that I might be homeless. And this was the second time I'd been homeless, because I was homeless after my ex-husband. I had to leave him with a shirt on my back. So I'm like, you're that kind of a person. And I tried to find the good in this prick, and I'm trying to justify why his actions. We come from a bad background, he's got trauma, all the girls kept leaving him, because at the start of the relationship, this guy was all about, everyone leaves me. And then, halfway through the relationship, I'm starting to clock on going, could it be because you're an asshole? It's like, oh no, I self-sabotage, I'm an imposter, I got imposter syndrome and shit. Like, I'm going, fuck off. You are an imposter. You are literally an imposter, and you treat people like shit, and then you get consequence and play the victim. It's, actions like making your ex-girlfriend homeless and not giving a fuck because you can't be bothered breaking the stone wall in which you fucking started. It's frustrating. I was sitting going, you're fucking 40 and you're doing this bitch ass shit. Oh, fuck me. At that point, it was the crucible. I'm sitting going, I cannot fucking forgive you for this. I cannot. Infidelity is one thing, but the willingness to fuck me over that much, beyond. Absolutely fucking beyond. I'm sitting there going, you are fucking evil at this point. I cannot save you. I cannot help you. There's no advice I could give you that could get you out of your own self-sabotage bullshit. I was so angry when I left, but I kept that calm, and I'm sitting there, right, I got a date, I know where I'm going, I got a place. When this is done and I'm out of his vicinity, this fucker is nothing to me. It's fucking nothing. And I did, even though, again, I did the stupid thing of trying to keep in contact with email, because I wasn't feeling safe with him physically, sexually, or anything, because he's sexually violent. And I'm like, this guy is just not liking women. He doesn't like women. None of my fucking him. He just doesn't like women. And so he takes it out on them sexually. I'm sitting there, some guys are like that. It's not healthy, it's toxic as fuck. But you know what? I give him a chance. And I let shit slip because I was your girlfriend. I was trying to be at the time. But at the same time, he was not monogamous in any way. And I'm going, I'm trying to make this fucking relationship, but this guy is just not giving me anything. So it's like, what the fuck, dude? But he just did not fucking care. And he only cared about himself. I'm saying, but you only ever worry about if you can get laid or pissed or money. And it's always about your fucking Bitcoin, some shit. I'm going, you just don't care about anyone but you. And the lack of concern for my welfare post-homelessness. You know, he was willing to let me be homeless again. He knew I had a background in it already. He just didn't give a fuck because it wasn't him. And it's that me-centric, fuck everyone else culture that we exist in. And I fucking hate it. And I'm sitting going, you have made yourself a problem at this point. I cannot forgive you for this. You have created this problem. And I actually said to his face, you fucked this. And I said it very enthusiastically, because at the time it's like there's no other way I could see around it. I'm sitting there going, I'm trying to understand my part in this fucking thing, and my part was fucking enabling it and letting him perpetually cross my boundaries because I wanted to be the nice person, because I want to let shit fly, because I want to just go with the flow, and I don't fucking judge. And it's like, turns out, yes, you do need to fucking judge, because these fuckers take the piss, you know. It's you're too fucking nice, you know. It's like, just let shit slide and hope it gets better, and it never fucking gets better with ourselves like that. There are exceptions, of course. The majority of people are not that fucking self-centered. They have a conscience, but this one, no. No conscience whatsoever. He'll fuck over his best friend if he could. If it meant that he could raid his parents' bitcoins, he fucking would. Now, I know there's a scenario involved in that, and I'm just like, you fuckers gotta leave him to himself, dude. He's not figuring out how to be a socially conducive person. He's not, he's using people. He's like, and I don't want to be the dick for pointing him out, but I'm just like, it's fucking obvious, and you fuckers let him do it. They don't even have their own boundaries. But at the same time, I'm looking at that group and I'm saying, why are you guys hanging around? Because those fuckers all had a motive as well. I'm sitting there going, I was trying to build a relationship with this prick. This fucker never put a label on it. He never claimed me. It's just, it was one of those cliche fuckboy things. I'm going, okay, so at least given time, I found out what my position was in this arrangement. I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. But at the same time, it's like, why are these fuckers hanging around? Is it the same kind of thing, or is just he that manipulative, or hoping to be that manipulative, they can get beyond their boundaries and use them? But some people want to believe the bullshit. Anyway, I digress. But it was the me not holding up my boundaries. Like, post-divorce, I set up some boundaries. I'm like, I will not tolerate people who cheat. I will not tolerate people that are not monogamous in a relationship with me. I was absolutely betrayed by my ex-husband. And he didn't give a fuck if I was homeless either, actually. He went ghost post me leaving anyway. I tried to keep in contact with him. I asked if he wanted to come over one time or something like that and go to the movies, but he's like, I think it would be better if we didn't. That was the last message I got from him, besides anything to do with the house. And I'm going, you know what, fuck you. 16 years under the belt with this prick, fuck you. So I'm like, fine, we'll do it your way. Fuck it. But, you know, I crossed my boundaries. I set them back up, mostly, with having left my ex-husband. I set them back up, kinda, because I was adamant I wasn't going to take someone who wanted the open relationship shit. I'm like, fuck this, no. I'm going to stick with that one. That was the first boundary I ever set for myself, to be honest. After that, because I saw my ex-boyfriend, as a new person, new experiences, new issues. I'm like, I was a bit more forgiving. I'm sitting there going, clearly this person has got some trauma. I'm going to make a few allowances, because I'm hoping, you know, he might be a good person. He might be all right to go with. He's got a few bad habits. I didn't realize how big the bad habits were until I actually lived with him. I'm going, fuck me, this is not what I expected at all. But up front, this guy presented as this nice, chill guy that just wanted to go out to wine bars, and he took me to wine bars, and he's let's hang out and let's go and do all these things. Well, not actually these things, it was mainly alcohol based. And I'm sitting there going, after a while, going, we always go to see these pubs and the shit. It's just like, what is going on here? So he'd set up this persona where he was this nice, classy guy, for whatever classy means. After a while, and now this was love bombing. He would say things like, you know, we'd be having sex and he'd go, oh my god, you're so hot, and shit like that. I'm going, and me at the time going, low self-esteem. Just left a guy. Yeah, totally, that's a nice thing to hear. It was love bombing. He wanted to get me emotionally attached based on my trauma that I experienced when I was married. He knew I had low self-esteem at the time. He knew I'd gone through an experience which would induce low self-esteem, would be below to my ego. And I would have something like abandonment wounds. And he presented this nice guy persona in order to develop some kind of trauma-bonded, emotional, anxious attachment thing. The silly fucker thought I had anxious attachment at this point. It's like, you're quite dumb. I did not have anxious attachment. I had avoidant attachment, if anything, because I was sitting there thinking, I've already been through some shit, dude. I don't need more damage. But I was willing to give him a chance. And I kept giving him chances, and gradually these small little nasty comments or you know, like, they'd gradually snowball into bigger things, like he didn't like my belief system, or, you know, he was very bigoted. He likened astrology to Nazism. I'm sitting there going, the fuck? I have never seen genocide because of somebody's having a bad day in the stars, dude. It's like, no, I've never seen that a link. But it was crazy. You're sitting there, and it starts with something small, but the smallness, you sit there going, you just brush it aside, and gradually you'll drop your boundaries to try and accommodate this person. And he would also do the stonewalling and, you know, the tantrums and shit like that. I was sitting there going, I can't do this, man. So you'd end up walking on eggshells just to avoid these fucking stonewalling instances. If he couldn't get his way, he'd sulk. He'd go up again to the pub or sit on his computer. You just didn't exist if you didn't give him what he wanted. I was thinking, I can't do this. He used to call it, what was it, being stoic. I was thinking, that's not being stoic. That's you refusing to fix something unless you can have it your way. That's not stoicism. That's quite fucking pathetic as a grown man, to be honest, because it shows that you have lack of commitment and communication skills and a lack of maturity in order to deal with these problems up front. If something arises, you use your communication skills to sort out the situation. You don't just sulk and fuck off. I'm not getting the attention and affection I want here. I'm going to fuck off to the pub where I know there's a bunch of hoes that'll, you know, coddle me and tell me I'm fantastic because I've lied to them this long and they think I'm a fantastic person. But get me home, I'm fucking Jekyll and Hyde. You know, it's ridiculous. And I'm sitting there going, while I was sitting in the pub with this guy, watching these girls, you know, flirting with him and shit, and he's like, ooh. I'm sitting there going, do you know what he actually is? It's like, have you actually lived with this fucker? And so when I did leave, it wasn't a problem, to be honest, because I knew what he was. I knew what they were dealing with. I'm sitting there going, I've lived with this. If you want to try and attempt to make a situationship or a relationship with this guy, then good on you. Maybe it's going to be a shitload of trauma on your end. It's like, and I'm older, I'm experienced, I know what's going to happen. I'm more resilient because I'm not the naive 20-something girls that see an older guy and think, oh, he's a nice guy, he's going to look after me, and he's flashing his Bitcoin around. I'm sitting there going, dude, this guy, no, it's a lie. Everything here is an illusion. But you cross your own, you know, boundaries because you want to believe that this illusion is real. You don't want to deny yourself that the image you created of this person or led yourself to believe is actually inaccurate. You don't want to believe it. You're sitting there thinking, I put this person on a pedestal, there is still a chance that they could be a good person. Now I know differently. You know, I didn't want to believe that this person could do these things. Not only did he copy what my ex-husband did, he did it worse. Which was ridiculous. It was out of the mind. He's like, you wouldn't do that to someone, so why did they do it to you? It seemed a lack of cause and effect. It's like, I understand that if you're an asshole, you get asshole behavior back. If you're a good person, you get good behavior back. That's the way it should be. It's direct cause and effect. But the behaviors, the things I was pouring into this guy were not being reflected in what I was getting out. I'm sitting going, this is not the right response to what I'm putting in. But if I hang on long enough, maybe it'll get better. If I pour more in, it will get better. Absolute bullshit on my part. It was my ego out of control saying this person can get better, or they're just having a bad time, or I'm wrong. Just like my ego holding on to this shred of please don't be wrong about this one too. After the last one, you know, it's all a desperate attempt to keep the show running with a, you know, like a really shit cast and no resources. You shouldn't keep this shit show running. And I fucked up my own boundaries. So, you know, after that, I have to really put up my boundaries because I saw that I was putting down my boundaries this time. It wasn't just a case of me being blindsided. It's like I saw the patterns. I saw where my interactions were causing problems. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. again. I cannot do this again. I don't have the fucking sanity to deal with another fucking prick like this. I cannot. It was insane, the amount of pettiness that I was tolerating because I didn't want to be wrong myself. And we don't like being wrong because it's a blow to our self-esteem. This person's generally being a prick. They're hurting you already. Why wouldn't you? Oh my God, why would you do that? Come on. We're trying to get past the red light. You idiots. Sorry, I'm back in my old neighborhood. Like, you didn't want to believe that even though this person was hurting you, they were capable of hurting you, and you don't want to be wrong about this idea that you created in your head that they're a good person that is just having a bad day. So I needed to work on my ego there. I was wrong. I was wrong in my assumptions that this person knew what they were doing, knew what they wanted. They knew what they wanted, they just didn't line up with what I thought they wanted. I assumed that they wanted a relationship. I was wrong. They didn't want a relationship, they wanted a free ride, and, you know, just generally some fucked up shit. And they wanted mind games, to be honest, because it pumped up their ego. They assumed they were smarter than me by cheating and lying behind my back, because I'd never catch on despite there being physical evidence. And of course it was this big joke behind my back with whoever he was fucking, because they both had one over on me. I'm sitting there going, this isn't really one over on me, I'm going to leave. You fuckers get left with each other. I don't give a fuck, nor will I give my resources to this fucked up situation. So whoever that was, have fun with that. I reinstated my boundaries and I got the fuck out of there. I'm not doing this shit. I'm too old, too tired and fed up of fuckwits. I don't fuckwits on a daily basis. Why the fuck would I want to marry one or be with one? You know, it's like, why are you adding more hassle to my day? You know, and you do get a bit more fed up. That's a large chunk of where my confidence comes from at this point, because I'm just fucking tired and fed up. It's like, I just don't care anymore. People say, she's so confident. It's like, no, she just does not give a fuck anymore. She's past it. I have no problems at this point cutting people out that show me that they're not worth keeping around. It sounds harsh, and people generally take the stance that you should be more forgiving. I'm sitting going, after this many times, how much more forgiving can I be? What do I wait around so he's going to do what next? Beat the shit out of me? That's the only thing he didn't do that was abusive. So he didn't physically beat me up, he sexually fucked me around. He's just violent. And thinking, how far does it take with this level of aggressions and violence sexually till it translates to literally fucking smacking me around the room? It's just, I'm not going to wait to find out. I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't know what kind of a guy he is that way. I don't know what the tipping point would be. But if he's willing to take what is meant to be an enjoyable, warm, loving situation like having sex, and to make it violent and aggressive and angry and putting all his anger into it, and when I ask him to stop, he laughs about it. I'm sitting there going, there's something fucking mental about you, dude. It's like, I don't know if it's him or if it was his ex-girlfriends that enjoyed being abused. But, it was just a case of, I don't want to see where this goes next. And I've done enough forgiving and brushing under the rug that I need to put up my fucking boundaries. It's not just a case of boundaries for the sake of ego at this point. It's also boundaries for the sake of safety. When I moved, I kept my gym on in the area because I was like, I'll transfer my gym when the contract runs out. But at the same time, I found out months later that he had actually signed up to the same fucking gym. I'm going, what the fuck? And the only reason I knew he did was because one of the girls at the front desk said, this guy knows you, he's asked where you live. And I'm sitting there thinking, why does he want to know where I live? That's fucking creepy. But it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you signing up to shit? You're stalking me. Why are you doing this? It's like, we're done. It's done. You're horrible. It's like, I can't help you anymore. I don't want to help you anymore. And now you're just fucking trying to figure out where I live. So I had to move gyms. I had to move house. It's like, you just to get away from this fucking guy. And it's like, what is wrong with you? You abused me. And you still think I want you. It's insane. It's insane. It's like, what delusion do you operate under? Where you can hurt people repeatedly And when they finally start picking up the pieces and moving on, getting the fuck out of your head so you can carry on whatever way you want to do as a lifestyle choice in your own fucking area, that you start pursuing them to keep doing it. It's something wrong with him. I don't know he needs therapy at the very fucking least before this gets out of hand and he ends up in prison. You know, it's like some shit's gonna go down. It's crazy. You need to stop. But of course it's like a case of, I'm the victim here. It's like, motherfucker. You are not the victim here. You are not the victim here. You're not the victim. It's like, you did shit. There were consequences. You are not the fucking victim here. The consequences meant someone had to physically remove themselves from your presence and never meet up with you again because you're insane. Deal with that. Just deal with your own shit. Don't work on yourself. It's like you need to clearly work on your fucking boundaries. It's crazy. I swear to God, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck went on with this guy. Why would you sign up to your ex-girlfriend's gym knowing that you never fucking go to the gym? Because you never did. What were you doing there? So what was the idea? Fucking scaring me. That was the fucking idea. It's like, you did, because he did. You fucking scared me. As soon as I found out, my gut dropped and I'm like, the fuck is this? Because now he's stalking me. I'm going, this is fucked. So I had to literally change gyms. I had to break the fucking contract, change gyms. These people just like the mind games, like fucking with you. You're sick. There's something wrong with it. Anyway, I digress because I'm nearly at work. Maintain your boundaries, particularly if it means upholding any sense of safety you need to keep for yourself. These fuckers are insane if you don't do that. Once you let the small boundaries slip, they'll take full advantage. They don't care. They will keep violating those boundaries and they'll find new ways to do it as well. Because you let it happen before. Why aren't you letting it happen again? Why aren't you letting me hurt you? I'm the victim here, right? It's like you don't... Ooh, where can I park? You didn't like what I did, but at the same time, why should I not, keep doing it? Because, I'm me. It's insane. You've got to stick to your fucking boundaries. And at this point, my boundaries, in that case particularly, were more of a case of safety. It's like, at what point, when I heard about the gym thing, do I start getting the cops involved? It's like, do I need a restraining order or some shit? It's like, what is happening? The best I can do is just pick up and get out of the way and hope to fuck, because he hasn't got a car or a license, that he doesn't follow me. This is insane. This is not romantic. This is just scary. You are just scaring girls now. Why are you like this? Fucking psychopath. I was going, have you not done enough damage that you need to now try and expand on it? It's just common values and lifestyle choices and stop trying to force shit that's obviously not working. Just control issues, domineering, possessive. All of the cliche things. It was insane. But of course, I can't defend myself in my absence, so what can I do? So I lost a few people over that, I think, because I know the social group we came from. I know what he would do in my absence. I know how he operates mentally and his level of pettiness. So it was probably a good thing I left the last social group, because they weren't a good influence anyway. And to be honest, leaving that place would be holding up my boundaries anyways. Like, I don't support this kind of a lifestyle. I don't agree with this kind of a lifestyle. So in the end, it worked out quite well. I lost a group of people that exhibited bad habits and traits, who supported someone who was clearly unhinged. And by cutting off that whole collective, I went, fuck that, went this way. And my growth expanded exponentially. I don't know if I told you already, but I've already got pre-approval for a house, which was my major project that I wanted to do for a very fucking long time. And you know how hard it is for people my age to get a house at this point. So I've got the bank online on side with me. I paid off my car because I needed to do it to get the loan. And it's just my life since I've upheld my boundaries have progressed constructively over the last 2 or so years, 3 years nearly. quite well. So if you can hold up your boundaries and, set the tone for how you want to exist and how you want people to treat you, it generally works out quite well. I don't have anyone fucking me around. I don't have anyone cheating on me. I don't have anyone lying to me. I might live alone and I might see barely anyone at this point because, except for work and stuff like that in the gym. But, it's just, unless I can find someone who's worth, putting the same effort and treating them with the same level of respect that I was giving this person, there's no point settling for a shithead, male or female, because I go both ways. I'm like, male or female, I'm not putting it with another shithead just to say I have someone. I'm not dropping my standards and my boundaries just to say I've got somewhere to go or I've got someone to be with or, all these extra things that people crave because eventually, I think I've summed it up. I think people in general just crave love. They just don't understand what love is, the real form of what it is. So they try and find it in different formats, which are generally, at sometimes, destructive. Whether it's self-love, but it's like a destructive self-love and alcoholism and drugs, or sleeping around. They're looking for love in general, but at the same time, the question is, what boundaries are we willing to keep up to ensure that you get the real shit and not the fake shit? That's one of the biggest challenges in social interaction, is trying to figure out what's real and what's fake, which is horrible. Luckily, I have autism, so I can do pattern recognition. I'm sitting there going, well, that's fake. I've seen that pattern. I know what this person's going to do next. Generally, you can predict people, unless they lie up front like my ex-boyfriend did about who they are and what they're about, which is a problem. But eventually the shit comes out and you find out and it's like, you arsehole. You're just an arsehole. But anyway, I'm going to have to leave it there. I'm hoping you guys have a fantastic Tuesday. I'm hoping to do another one on Thursday. Take it easy because, it's all about self-respect at this point. And at times, maybe it does get a bit lonely when you isolate yourself from people. But if you've only got assholes in the vicinity, it's probably worth it, It's like if you haven't got access to good people with good intentions and, high morals who are willing to look after you and you look after them and all this reciprocal shit, then just take yourself out, because at least you might be, you're at neutral level as opposed to dealing with fuckwits and settling for less and taking on damage. You might not be able to get the good ones, but at least you're not getting the bad ones, right? That's the way I'm seeing it right now. And when the good ones do appear, and they will, then you can go, okay, so I've had all this time to heal myself. I've got all these resources. Let's go and do something with it. Let's do something constructive, creative. Anyway. Divine intervention, timing and patience. We just got to wait. So anyway, have a good one. I'm going to do another one on Thursday. Take it easy. Keep your boundaries up. It's about self-respect. It's not just settling for shit and saying, this is all I deserve. Okay?